Welcome to Smart Wealth with Joshua.
Your daily stock analysis and catalyst talk. Today we're looking at Rocket Lab.
If you find our talks useful, please consider subscribe, like, and comment underneath to support our podcast. And if there's any stock you want us to look into, leave it in the comment section below.
So let's get into the analysis.
Let's do it. We're looking at the momentum coming out of the third quarter of 2025. What's the big story here?
The story is really all about execution. I mean, we saw record revenue, some really pivotal strategic moves.
Okay, execution. What does that look like in numbers?
Well, revenue hit a company record of $155.1 million. That's up 48% year over year.
Wow, okay.
But what's really interesting is that we saw their liquidity just surge, It was bolstered by $865.5 million in proceeds from an equity offering.
So they're capitalizing aggressively.
Very aggressively. This company is building a war chest.
I remember the Geost acquisition finalizing back in August. How does that play into these Q3 results?
Oh, it's huge. That acquisition, it was nearly $290 million, and it massively expanded their whole space-based sensor portfolio.
And their government customer list, I imagine.
Exactly. It adds substantial intangibles and goodwill to the balance sheet. It just strengthens that whole space system segment, which is now, by the way, their biggest revenue driver.
And what about on the launch side? The Electron rocket is still breaking records, isn't it?
Absolutely. They secured 17 Electron launch contracts in Q3 alone.
17.
Yep. It just cements their leadership in that small satellite launch market. And that strong demand, well, that's what's fueling this massive backlog.
All right, let's talk fundamentals then. When we look at the financial health, what's the most compelling argument for the stock right now?
It's really the combination of that backlog and the margin improvement.
Okay.
The company has over $1 billion in contracted order backlog. $1 billion. And about 57% of that is expected to convert into realized revenue within the next 12 months.
That provides some immense visibility.
It's incredible for a growth company.
Okay, let's unpack this a little. $1 billion backlog is great, but are they turning that into profit? I mean, they're a growth company, losses are expected, but what are the margin trends looking like?
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Gross margins hit 37%, GAAP, in Q3 2025. Now, that's up from the high 20s just last year.
That's a huge jump.
It is, and management is guiding for Q4 margins to keep climbing to between 37 and 39%. This signals, real structural efficiency gains and much better cost leverage.
And how is the balance sheet holding up after all this activity?
Very strong. They ended Q3 with a net cash position of $145.6 million.
Okay.
And maybe more importantly, they reported positive operating cash flow the first 9 months of 2025. That's a key milestone since they went public.
That is a huge milestone.
It is. They cite over $1 billion in liquidity available for R&D and strategic M&A. This kind of flexibility allows them to keep investing while, some of their peers might have to pull back.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, Rocket Lab's main advantage isn't just about launching rockets anymore, is it?
No, not at all. It's about being this vertically integrated, one-stop shop for space infrastructure.
So the space systems side, the satellites, components, propulsion, that's the real competitive moat.
Exactly. In Q3, Space Systems revenue was about $114.2 million, which, significantly outpaced the launch revenue.
And that integration, that's what creates the lock-in.
It creates the switching costs. It's why key customers like NASA and the U.S. Space Force are expanding these multi-year agreements with them.
But the massive catalyst on everyone's mind has to be the Neutron rocket. What's the latest update there?
Neutron, yeah. That's their reusable medium-lift launch vehicle. It's targeted for its first launch in Q1 2026.
Okay, so early 2026.
Right. And what's critical here is that management has indicated R&D spending on Neutron is approaching its peak.
And that's important because
once that R&D spend peaks, the drain on cash flow starts to ease up. A successful deployment of Neutron just expands their market reach dramatically. It enables these larger constellation deployments and deeper customer lock-in.
Let's shift to the stock chart for a minute. Where's the price action pointing?
The technical picture is it's clearly bullish. The stock's been in a strong uptrend throughout the fourth quarter of 2025.
So it's holding up well.
It's trading comfortably above both the 50-day and the 200-day moving averages. That's a classic structure, really. It confirms a solid medium to long-term uptrend.
So what does this all mean? Is this just retail enthusiasm driving the price up?
Far from it, actually. Institutional ownership is high, around 67.8%, and it's been increasing. We've seen major funds accumulating shares.
What about insiders?
Insider flow is a bit more nuanced. So while there were large sell-to-cover sales by directors and executives, totaling around $274 million.
Whoa, that's a big number.
It is, but you have to understand what it is. It's mostly to cover tax liabilities on vested stock. It doesn't necessarily signal a lack of confidence.
Okay, that's a key distinction.
Right. And to reinforce that, the CEO also executed an open market purchase of $2.1 million in October.
Ah, now that sends a much stronger message.
It definitely reinforces internal confidence.
We have to balance the excitement with the risks, though. What are the primary concerns for investors looking at Rocket Lab?
And that raises an important question. The number one risk remains execution, particularly with a high-stakes program like Neutron.
Any delays or major technical setbacks could really hurt them.
Exactly. It would impact their growth timeline and, investor sentiment pretty heavily.
And despite those improving margins, they are not sustainably profitable yet, correct?
That's correct. They posted a net loss in Q3. GAAP EPS was -3 cents. However, the guidance is for operating EBITDA break-even by Q4 2025.
Break even.
Break-even. And this rapid progression from narrowing losses to an expected break-even is a major risk mitigant, and it's all backed by that $1 billion in liquidity.
So while the stock is high beta, sensitive to market swings, the company's specific risks seem to be getting addressed through diversification and just having a ton of cash on hand.
That's the key.
Okay, let's look ahead. What are the crucial near-term catalysts between now and, say, February 2026?
The biggest near-term event will be the Q4 2025 earnings release. That's likely in January or February.
And what will the market be looking for?
They'll focus intensely on whether they hit their revenue guidance of $170 to $180 million.
And that EBITDA break-even target.
And, most importantly, if they achieve that targeted operational EBITDA break-even, hitting that would be a huge validation.
What about ownership updates?
Investors will be watching the institutional 13F filings, which are due by the end of January. They'll want to confirm that institutional accumulation continued after that strong Q3.
And finally, the speculative buzz. What are the exciting rumors we should keep an eye on?
Well, there's market chatter about a potential multi-launch national security contract award.
That would be massive.
Huge. And there's also speculation around strategic partnerships, maybe with a major cloud provider to enhance their satellite data services.
Interesting.
Also, some unconfirmed rumors suggest the timeline for Neutron's first orbital launch might be accelerated, potentially moving up from Q1 2026.
If any of those came true, they would be serious upside triggers.
Massive triggers, yeah.
So Rocket Lab is undeniably transitioning into a scaled space infrastructure leader. It's backed by a massive backlog and improving cash flow. The next few months around Q4 earnings and those Neutron updates are going to be defining moments.
I think so. The long-term trajectory looks really robust as they capture more of this expanding market for integrated space services. I'd just say keep a close eye on that Neutron timeline.
Make sure you subscribe to Smart Wealth with Joshua so you don't miss our analysis on the next major market mover. Until next time.